Hello, my name is Joseph with Community and Civic Engagement, and this is Citizens U-Chat. Okay, so today we're talking about representation with an explanation of the census and just a little bit about gerrymandering. So representation matters a lot to everyone. It's what was one of the big deals in the Constitution before the Great Compromise. It was trying to figure out how people were going to be represented. So what they decided upon in the Great Compromise, not going to go over all the different type of plans they were going to do, was between having a Senate and House of Representatives. You've all heard this before. And the Senate has 100 representatives and the House of Representatives has 435. So just as a brief refresher, the Senate, they have terms for 6 years. Their terms are 6 years, so they don't have to worry as much about the ramifications of every action they make. Whereas the House of Representatives was 435, there's more than enough people who kind of want to take that job away from you. So they have to worry a lot more from repercussions of their actions. So they are supposed to act more as delegates. And whereas Senate is supposed to act more like trustees. Trustees as in we trust them and they're supposed to make the right decision for the people is generally kind of how to think of it. The total of 435, that was fixed in 1911 since they had way too many people in the House of Representatives at that time. They were trying to have it so that per every 10,000 people, there would end up being one representative. But as you can see, we've got way too many people in the United States. So what if we have 250 million divided by 10,000, we would have a lot more representatives than we actually do now. So there are also 6 non-voting members of the House of Representatives that are pretty much made up of U.S. territories. U.S. territories like Puerto Rico, which, by the way, this year they're again voting on trying to become a state. So let's take North Carolina as an example. North Carolina is split up into 13 districts. And 13 districts means we have 13 House of Representatives, 1 per each district. We are currently in District 9. If you were curious, that is who we are voting for. If you live at UNC Pembroke, go Braves. The way the districts are arranged can end up with some interesting results, which is where we get to gerrymandering. The origin of the word comes from this guy whose last name, I believe his last name, who is Jerry, and it looked like a salamander the way he made this one district, so they called it Jerry's Salamander. Eventually they just changed it to the term gerrymandering in order to slam it together. Pretty much the way they did it is all the people you don't think are going to vote for you, you kind of just try and shove them in one district and string it along. And all the people you want to vote for you, you want to make sure you weave it in between the people that are going to vote for you and the people who aren't, so that you know, so you're pretty much in control of who's going to win. So if the people who like you are 3-1 versus the people who don't like you in that district, you're gonna win the district. So it's just a way of trying to win the vote. North Carolina has had a long history of this. Our state has been considered unconstitutional, so we haven't been able to pass state legislative bills because of such a thing, or make changes to our state constitution because our state was deemed to be unconstitutional since it was based in gerrymandering, which is also considered racially discriminatory, and there's a whole lot of stuff with that. But an example of the racially discriminatory is A&T campus has literally been split into 2 different districts. If you don't know, A&T campus is A&T College is a historically black school, like 98% black. So when they try to split when they split the campus in half, confusing the students whether they should go to this district or the other district, it really infringes on their ability to go out and vote. Okay, so back to the example that was considered making an amendment to the Constitution and it being unconstitutional. So the reason I know about this is because it's about voter ID laws. I am very, very, very against voter ID laws because they've been proven multiple times to be racially discriminatory inside inside North Carolina specifically. They've supposedly gotten them to work in other states, but North Carolina, they have specifically been considered racially discriminatory. In 2013, they tried to pass it. It was struck down by a judge as racially discriminatory. There was another time where they tried to amend our constitution, our state constitution, so that they could actually pass it. And what ended up happening is they actually did get a full vote on it, and they did technically pass it. But again, our legislature and everything, our state legislature was considered gerrymandered to hell. Our state legislature was considered so gerrymandered that it wasn't even allowed for them to change the state constitution. So so now we do not have a voter ID law. Just remember that. So do me a favor, go out and vote. There's not too much time left to go do it. Please early vote, and yeah. So good luck to all of you, and this has been Citizens U Chat.